13 art mysteries children should know. Let's start off with our first art mystery. Moses' Ark of the Covenant. Now, Moses' Ark of the Covenant basically means you went ahead and you've actually become one of the most prized objects in literally human history. But one of the prized objects in human history, this Ark over here, is actually lost to history for over 2,500 years. For 2,500 years, people have went ahead and sought it as a refuge, like sort of as a relic, but then people realized that, hey, we want to go ahead and steal it, and so they stole it. In fact, nowadays we don't even know where it is. Some people have speculated it to be in other places. Other people have thought it to be in like Israel. Maybe some people say it's in like this mosque, and then that's forbidden from excavation. So the guy who tried to excavate that mosque was arrested. This is a representation of it. And then we even have this, which is brilliant if you ask me at first, but then again, it doesn't really look that much brilliant. It's just someone putting in, I'm guessing this is Moses, putting in the holy water or something inside there, and with that, the ark becomes sacred as well too. And this is a representation, a recreation of the ark itself. This is David's dance around the ark. Alright, next up, we have the riddle of Apelles. Now, the Greek artist Apelles was actually one of the most important painter of antiquity. And for hundreds of years, people have went ahead and praised the perfection of his pictures. However, not a single one has actually survived. And so, we have no idea what Apelles have actually went ahead and looked like as well too. So we went ahead and we tried to look at them. This is a recreation of this is what is supposed to be Apelles, but then people have realized that maybe it is a little bit too much, and so they went ahead and I guess they burned them at the stake. And then of course our next one is, what did Jesus Christ really look like? Now, we have no idea what Jesus Christ really looks like. In fact, none of the paintings, or at least nothing that we found right now, are actually as old as Jesus Christ is said to be. Now, today, Jesus Christ must at least be like from 2,224 years ago. 2,024 years ago, but we haven't found anything that suggests it's about Jesus Christ from earlier on. Of course, lots of things actually happened too. The birth of Christ was said to have been 0 AD, but maybe longer. This cloth here shows a shroud of a man, and it was said that this person was crucified and crucifixed to death, and it is obvious that this person was crucifixed because we see some marks and blood marks, and this is obviously a cloth that carried the head of the crucifixer. So we thought this was Jesus Christ, but then we dated it, and we found out that it was 700 years ago. It was from 700 years ago, not over 2,000 years ago. And this might be Jesus Christ, his head on this cloth, but then again, that cloth we've never seen ever since too. Alright, then we have Jan van Eyck and his oil paintings. This is Jan van Eyck, and he painted some extraordinary things as well too. The Flemish artist James van Eyck oneself actually was oil paint a lot, unlike other artists at the time as well too. His colors actually appear red, yellow, or blue because of tiny pigments or particles of color that they actually go ahead and contain. And for oil paints, pigments are actually bound with seed on that oil and then mixed with turpentine. And the special thing about this person is that he went ahead and did it too. His recipe for oil paints is a bit special, and we don't even know it to this day. And then next up we have the world of Hieronymus Bosch. Now, the world Hieronymus Bosch, he was actually a painter with lots and lots of secrets. He's the one who made this, and he's the one who also made this as well too. He's named himself after his hometown of Herzogenbosch, and these strange and fantastical creatures can actually be seen among his artist's work as well too. I've actually seen this myself. It's in the Patro Art Gallery, and it's actually a little picture frame. It's supposed to be a picture frame, and the outside is supposed to be dull. That was conventional, but the inside was lively. But his outside wasn't that dull. It was a bubble containing a village, something like from Vilgax Attacks, or The Vengeance of Vilgax. If you've ever seen that episode from an Alien Force. Our next mystery is, why did the Mona Lisa smile? Now, why did she smile? To this day, we still don't know. Some people speculate that it was just because somehow Leonardo da Vinci was able to put a smile on her face. Maybe she started smiling because, well, she was frowning all the time. But then Leonardo da Vinci said, I will never sell this painting to anyone. I'll keep it with me forever. And that just made her smile and quickly captured that smile as well, too. Alright, next up we have this. His name was Caravaggio. You might have heard of him. That's because he's one of the most famous artists in the world. He actually led a pretty wild life in 1603. He slew an opponent after playing a ball game in Rome, and then he was forced to flee the city and never return. You don't just kill someone because they beat you in a ball game. And so his paintings himself were actually pretty wild as well too. He went ahead and drew things, and then they just went ahead and lived on to the test of time as well too. He even drew this, the Medusa, with a severed head, serpentine hair, and maybe 2 graphically drawn blood on this painting as well too. I highly advise kids not to see that painting, at least not until they are 10 years old. At least not until they are 7 years old. And then a more simplified version will do as well too, not to give them nightmares. Next up we have Jan Vermeer. Interesting about Jan Vermeer, his mystery is that was he actually a photographer long before photography was even invented? If you look at this, you can see that a lot of these things actually look a lot like photographic techniques as well too, but they're just a little bit too realistic. I mean, how to draw this detailed map that well too. He may have understood the products of photographing. He went ahead, and the earliest photographs anyways were these little pinhole cameras as well too. He went ahead and drew them and he may have just made like a little sketch of the image that came out on the little sheet there too, unless he somehow found light sensitive sheets, paper. He would have to hand draw it too, and that wasn't until a few decades later. Our next mystery is the missing Amber Room. Now, the Amber Room is a great place. It sparkles and it shines, but the one you're seeing right here, it's a fake. This is a recreation of the original one. The original room is hidden somewhere in this palace, I'm guessing. To this day, no one has found it. But it was put in this palace called the Catherine Palace, and it decided to use in total of like several kilograms of amber. And do you know how much amber that is? You literally have no idea how much amber that would actually take to do things as well too. All this amber came from a river that originates from a source of amber, and the amber just got eroded by, I'm guessing, ice glaciers. Since anyone can remember, amber has been flowing down that stream since. Well, this is the amber as well too, and sometimes some insects are actually able to be preserved in there in amber. That's how we actually were able to find some good specimens of ancient insects. Alright, next up, our next mystery is Goya and the Ugly Queen. Now, if you look at this and you look at the royal family, you might actually be thinking that they don't. If you just look at their face, they don't look so royal at all. In fact, the only way to know that they're a royal family is their clothes. In fact, one of the people who first saw this painting when it was first drawn, when it was first finished and put up on exhibition, someone laughed and said, "The royal family looks like a baker and his wife who just won the lottery." In fact, we're not sure if Goya, who was actually had a very important position in the court of the Spanish family, being the official Spanish court painter, was commissioned by the Spanish royal family to go ahead and make their portrait. He may have just tried to insult them, but if it did, well, great job of insulting them, because it was pretty well disguised. And it kind of makes sense. Back then, the public view of royal families were actually starting to waver, and so we were having a hard time actually doing things as well too. Next up, we have Vincent van Gogh. What happened to his left ear? The mystery is that after a fight, we presume it's a fight, he cut off his left ear. Vincent van Gogh, that is. Some say that he went ahead and cut off just like a little part of it, maybe like this little part of his ear. Others say that he's cut off like the entirety of his ear as well too. No matter how much of his ear he cut, he went ahead and put his ear inside a little bit of a claw, and then he gave it to a random woman on the street, and then said, "Please take good care of it," and basically ran away. The woman was stunned, and when she looked inside, it was obviously ear. To this day, we have no idea who that woman is. and who Vincent van Gogh gave his ear to this day. That is a mystery. Next up, we have some surrealistic picture paintings as well too. Surrealism is one of those paintings that go ahead and give us a little mystery kind of feeling as well too. There's melancholy and mystery of the street, and so much more things in our later lives as well too. There's the persistence of memory, like Salvador Dali, which I've shown you before, and then we have this one too. It looks like a doll room, but then we've added actual human objects towards it as well too. Like, this is part of the doll room, 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 but the only thing that doesn't seem to be part of the doll room is this and this. This makes a lot of sense, because, well, it seems to be on a table, and it's just up close. But then once you actually look at it closely, you realize it's not on a table, it's on the floor. And so this is also a little bit awkward as well too. We have actually so much more to really talk about, such as like these kinds of paintings. This is the melancholy and mystery of a street. And then we also have Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory, which goes ahead and shows that time is a lot like flowing things as well too. And then our final mystery of the day is, who is Banksy? Now, Banksy. Now, Banksy is an unknown graffiti artist. He went ahead and makes graffiti pretty fast. In fact, it only takes him like an hour to go ahead and make the graffiti, and he does it so at night. And so once he makes it, he goes ahead and rushes away as quickly as he did. To this day, no one knows who Banksy is. Some of his artworks are actually pretty memorable as well too. It also gives out messages, such as this one talking about the peace and the war between Israel and Palestine. And the rat is his icon because he sees himself as a rat. Some people have actually wanted to sue Banksy, but problem is they have no idea who Banksy is. That's a little nice to know, because he's invaded their property. But then, well, the British Museum invited him to make an exhibition of real art. In fact, until then, he actually hid most of his art in museums. He went and made an art, he stowed away in the museum in a real exhibition, and it took a few days for people to figure out, wait, that's not a real painting. That's not a real cave painting. That's a human. That's a human on a cave painting. Why is there a license plate number on it? That's when the museum knew they got a Banksy. And in fact, Banksy has actually become expensive now because, well, we have no idea who made it. And so the mystery goes ahead, and everyone wants an actual Banksy. I'm pretty sure Banksy never gets any of the profits because he never gets it as well too. And then one day he went himself and made his friend film called Exit to the Gift Shop. It is about a director who wants to make a film about Banksy, and even then, Banksy's face is hidden, as well as the fact that his voice is distorted through a voice distorter software, no matter what. And of course, with that, we've ended our 13 mysteries, with the last one being, who is Banksy? That is actually the only mystery that's actually intrigued me the most. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, channel, peace. Bye-bye. Peace. The rat, the piece, the maid, Banksy, the clock, the streets, the dollhouse, the surrealists, Van Gogh, the Spanish family, Goya, Amber, Catherine Palace, the Amber Room, camera, John Vermeer, Caravaggio's Medusa. Another Caravaggio painting. How did Caravaggio die? Mona Lisa smiling? The World of Hieronymus Bosch. Hieronymus Bosch's painting. Hieronymus Bosch. Jan van Eyck's famous oil painting. Jan van Eyck's self-portrait. What did Jesus really look like? We have no idea. The Riddle of Apelles. To this day, no one knows any of his paintings. Moses' Ark of the Covenant. 13 art mysteries children should know.